down here. Okay, back. Stream 2 today. Oh, second stream, or however you're supposed to say it. Oh, my back is hurting back in there for some reason. Kind of got a catch in it. Okay, let me check things and make sure everything looks like it's working good. Well, lately I've been leaving my Crusader open and running so I can make sure my backup file video was being made, and then once or twice I've seen it not work, you know. So I want to make sure. And then I close it because it keeps on using too much CPU. But I got my box of I just went in and brought in my box of fans, you know, used fans and stuff. I have one new one, the one I was talking about, but it's not the right size. So I'll go over there and get on it. Get on the other camera here and show it. So let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. If I switch my... Okay, here we go. Now we're both mics.
It's the easiest way for me to make sure I'm getting the right mic, just to look at the desktop feed, because they can see them both in the same area there. You know, even though I'm looking at the preview, I'm not. There we go. Anyway, I'm looking at. I have to page up and down in that. Whatever scene I'm in, except for the desktop scene. Okay, so I think I will put on my. I got out my little safety glasses that are magnifiers when I went out in the garage because I can see to read stuff better out there with those on. And I thought, hey, maybe I'll wear them to do this because they really help me better than my computer glasses, I guess I'd say, for doing this kind of stuff. Yeah, I can actually see. With the magnifying glass, I can see the letters without turning on the light, and it's just everything just looks clearer. With those other glasses and the magnifying glass, it's not enough. It's not the right amount or something of magnification. But I still need both to read anything small. I can't read any of that, you know. But I don't know. Sometimes I used to do that a lot before I got the endoscope. Now I just kind of use the endoscope. But if you get it all lined up, you have to be looking at the... Well, I can look at the preview over there, but I have to turn around behind me the way I'm set up right now. But this fan, even if I get it working good, I'm really not going to be trusting it. I have to get up and stand up, I think, to do this. I'm really not going to be trusting it. And here's my old hairdryer that's in the garage. I keep it out there for heating up stickers and stuff to peel them off and junk like that. That is hair junk to make your hair stand up. I used to have a spiky hairdo, and that's what happened. That's what got all over that thing. And I don't know why I had two of them. I have two identical. They're good dryers. I mean, I bought these back in the 80s and early 90s maybe. Anyway, I have two of them, and I don't know why. I guess I had two of them because my kids probably used one of them back then. But I had two daughters and a son back in those days. And so anyway, the other one's in the closet, and it's cleaner. It don't look so nasty. But I haven't used a hairdryer in 20 some odd years. I don't do anything like that anymore. I quit doing it in like 92. I remember 1992 is when I quit doing that. Okay, so I've got all kinds of fans here. Some of these that I was talking about that I've taken apart and cleaned up. Like here's one I read the note earlier. At first I thought it was going bad, and then I just cleaned it. Then I took it apart and cleaned it up the way I was telling you. And I'll get this endoscope. I'll just go ahead and put it on endoscope and cam 2 for right now. Now, this is the those clips I was talking about. One of those little plastic. They're like a sort of like a C clip, sort of like a. Now I can't even think of what you call them. They're made out of plastic. They're not durable at all, and they do surprisingly hold it. And all it does is just keep that fan blade from jumping up out of there. See that this one here's got lights, I think. Yeah, I think there's a light in there somewhere. But anyway, that's all that holds them together. And but this, of course, none of these are going to be the right size. I can use this old fan to go by. Of course, there's a huge. This is just your standard fan, you know. It's not going to work. But that was just an example. So none of those will work. Got couple more in there. That one that has no note, but it's only a 2-pin. This is a 3-pin. 3-pin is what I have, and 3 or 4-pin is what that motherboard's looking for. And then, but they're the wrong size, and I'm not going to go drilling holes to try to get it to work. Here's the one that's brand new. It's a 4-pin. It's got an extra sense wire on it. And see, it's got a little bitty heat sink. And can't seem to get a little thin heat sink. Not that, you know, well, I mean, it's not enough material to cool that big 2.4 or something gigahertz AMD. It's for the older models of AMDs. I figured out once I got it. See, should have known it was a bargain, you know, $4 and something. But there was no picture of it, and it just described it and said it fit AMDs from this to that. And I thought, well, it'll probably fit something I got. And then when I got it, it was not anything like what I expected. And that one's in the picture too. What's that? That's the, okay, this is the one I'm trying to replace. So yeah, see how much smaller that fan is? That's even smaller than a standard fan, I think. Yeah, it's quite a bit smaller. So if I set this, trying to figure out a way to set it. Yeah, that's one reason why I haven't ever used it. Because in all my machines, even the AMD, I don't even know if this would go without some sort of fancy footwork. Well, like I said, see, the way that they used to put them in there is they would just, the fins were much thicker, and they would just drive the screws in between the fin, a couple of fins. See, these fins are tough. And the ones on the outside are made for that specifically. A lot of them aren't. They're just all the same thickness. Whoops. But I guess that's why I've never used it. Well, that, and I just thought, oh, I want to put it on something where the heatsink actually fits. But I never have come across a machine that it fits. And oh, where's that other one? So. Yeah, I bet that's why. See, here's this big old bell horn off of the Intel, the one that I was grabbing about, my 1.8 gigahertz that makes so much noise. Still, with this off, that made it sound twice as loud. That horrible sound that it makes, that whining sound. I bet you that's why I never did put this fan on it, is because I didn't. It was so much smaller, and I probably didn't. And I bet you it's one that you do screw the screws into the heatsink like that, but it's so much smaller because it uses the same size of fan. I used to could say that size, but now I can't remember. But your standard size, what's these size here? It's on them somewhere, I think. Some of them. But where's the one? Oh, that's the note that goes with this one. Okay. Yeah, this one's got lights on it. See that red-green band around it? That's the lights. It's got little LEDs. And then my note said that they work. I don't know what color. Don't remember what color they are, but I having to look way behind my back anyway to look at that preview. So, but yeah, those aren't going to just fit. You know, screw right down. The thing about this one, oh, the heat sink's still in the computer. I didn't take it out, but its fins are very thin. I think that the vibration of the fan spinning would just make it eventually, even if it was tight to start with, I think it would come loose. So I wouldn't screw that one into fins like the old ones did. There's a bunch of metal parts out of computers, fan guards and stuff. Like key rails for stuff. Now I bought, trying to figure out how to set this back in there and get it out of my way. I bought these years ago for the real desktop computers, the one that you'd set up flat on the desk, and they don't stand up; they lay, they're flat. I bought those at Target Direct, and I bought 2 or 3 of them. I have 2 here. Every one of them started. They collect too much dirt. They go in a PCI slot, and they just they still work, but they get so slow they don't do any good. But they were kind of neat. I thought it was neat, you know, because in those you didn't have enough room for lots of fans in those, and I did use them for years, and they did help until they're 12-volt fans. Regular Molex connectors, and I have these 2 still because once I finally figured out getting these apart would be I never have done it, but I kept them because I thought once I figured out that really all you need to do is take them completely apart and clean those bushings and the shaft for the blade really well, and they'll start working really good again, at least for a year or 2. Here's one that probably works okay. It doesn't have any notes on it or anything. It's been modified. I guess I don't know. I can see that I put this is just a 2-pin. Oh, this is set up to run on 5 volts. It's got, see the red and black wire? Well, it could still be 12 volts, but, well, if you plug that up like that, oh, you know what? It says good on it. Let's see. It's a 12-volt fan, but I think I set it up to run on 5. Oh, that wouldn't have fit in there. My Raspberry Pi, I used to have a fan on it, and it got to where and I was running a 12. It was a 12. I'll show you the fan. Let's see, where is it? Oh, it's in the bottom of this box. Okay, this is I put a heat sink on it. That's the heat sink, a small heat sink I cut up in half, and the other half is on my Raspberry Pi. And down in there, that little fan, I have 2 of them now, because here's another heat sink that goes with one of those fans. It's good. The other one just basically wore out. I think it's that. Yeah, it's that one, because I can see the stickers off of it. So, you can run a 12-volt fan on 5 volts, and it'll just spin really slow. But after a couple of years, that fan just got to where it was warming so slow it wasn't doing any good. It was just, and I don't know if it was the fan or the power supply, because I was using what I did is put my Raspberry Pi in a box, a plastic box that used to be an HD TV tuner, but it got ruined by lightning. And there's one that might fit. I'm gonna look and see. I think it's too small though. Move this box out of the way now. No, just those flaps will be in the way. So here this one is. Where's my, there we go. Now this one may be the exact same. It is. Okay, that's the same size. Now it's dirty. I didn't bother blowing them off. I started to, and I thought, well, why blow them off if you don't know what it is you want to use? But that's the right size. It's got some little rubber. I've got one with those rubber deals in my power supply amp that came out of my Dell, but this must be another one I saved out of some machine. Probably a machine with the bad. It's got these, you don't screw them in, you just pop them in. Of course, I wouldn't do that on here. I would screw them in, but that's the same size. Looks like it has a light on it, too. Is that a light? I think it might be. I'm not sure. Doesn't look like it's not an LED. It may just be something kind of sensor for it or something. I think it's a good fan. It's a 12 volt, and it's I can figure out which way to twist it. The way, you know, with the round, it's really hard to, I don't know what, it's hard to twist the cable that this endoscope is on. So it's usually easier to turn the stuff. But anyway, there's nothing to tell you that you're turning the right way to be right side up with this endoscope. It's left to me. It's not right side up. So if I want to actually look at what I'm holding, I got to do it like this, and then twist on that endoscope cable until it gets right side up. There, that's still hard to do. But 12 volts. I can't really read the rest of it. There's a lot of reflections and everything there. So if I was going to use it, I would need to clean it, blow it off, take it outside and blow it off. But with the air compressor, it's so dirty, I don't really want to, I was going to say I might want to test it, make sure it works first. But I think I'm going to blow it off before I test it because it's going to blow dust when I turn it on. Oh, it's only it is a 3-wire, but it doesn't have a cable on it. I mean, a connector. Oh, it used to. And I took them off. I think I had it stuck in something. I think they're broke. I can't see. Can't see even in that preview of that, but it looks to me like they're broke. Let me just get off of that endoscope now. And you can see better what I'm doing, and I'll just use my magnifying glass. Yeah. No, they're not broke. I don't think. It's not big enough. I would have to. Well, I can just use this cable if I need to. I can just, you know, just wire nuts. I've got crimp connectors out there in the garage, but you know, wire nuts are really more dependable. They will hold and not come loose on you better. That's been broken or cut off. Well, one of them is. The other one's there, looks like. It's a weird... No, it's broke. It's been either cut or broke for whatever reason. I think I had this stuck into a female connector of some sort when I was using it. Maybe I used to have it in my power supply amp and I changed it. Maybe it got to making noise and I took it out of there. So see, that's what I don't know, unless I test it. But I think first I'm going to go ahead and get that sticker off of there and clean that. Because, you know, those are about more sketchy looking than the one I got here. So if I can make it quit making noise, and then I'll probably just go ahead and order a new one since it's for Mom's computer. That's too little. It might be good to put in that one that's making so much noise, though. I really have said for a long time that I need to do something about that. But, oh, I need to see where I'm going to plug in that hair dryer. I didn't really want to plug it into the same place that one of my cameras is plugged in, is what I was thinking. But because I wouldn't, just to make sure it didn't cause some noise and interference. Sorry, I'm on the lapel, so I can't get away from it. But I'm checking my stream, make sure it's okay. Not so sure. I think I was paused. I'm not even sure whether I was paused or what. I just clicked the sound button and it heard me, but that could have been from a while back. Okay, now, yeah, I heard what I just said. So, that's good. I've got to, yeah, these, they're not very comfortable. They squeeze my head and they're kind of sharp around the ear. You know, the edges are kind of bug my ears. I just need to get some really smooth sandpaper. I did that already once. Need to do it again. You can't feel it really until you put them on. Of course, as far, well, you do want them to squeeze your head good and not fall off though when you're outside working. All my wireframe glasses, they'll fall off while I'm working, and they're glass, they're not plastic, so they could shatter. Finally realized one day that that's as much as I like. You know, you can see better through them. Actually, these are pretty good. They claimed when I was, you know, on the advertisement when I was looking at them about buying them, that they were clearer than glass, and they are clear. They really are clear. So, moving stuff around so that I can do this. Okay, let's see. This cable being wrapped around that handle, it doesn't really want to, it wants to stay wrapped nowadays. After spending years wrapped up, I don't get this out but once or twice a year. Don't do anything with stickers very often. It's got to go one way or the other. I know I don't want to put it on the power, I put it in a power strip. I don't want to put it on the one with my speakers. So I'll put it on this other one that's my laptop's plugged into. And a couple other things. I'm not even sure what else is plugged in there. Oh, I think one of the phones is. Oh, well, yeah, see. As long as it's not my sound gear and everything, that's the thing. Yeah, I think it'd be all right. I'm gonna, yeah, I'll get the sound going and see if it does anything to it. I'll get my preview going before I turn it on. And it'll be loud on this lapel mic, that's for sure. But I can't really help that. If I was using the 58, it'd be better, but I can't really get it around here to where I'm at very good. Okay, now play. Okay. Okay. It's so loud I can't hear my preview, but I think it'll be all right. Oh yeah, I heard it. Yeah, it's not. Okay, well it's going to be loud, but it doesn't seem to be causing any electronic noise in my setup here. All right, now that one doesn't matter. It's already. Did I pause it? Pause the audio, but I didn't pause the preview. That machine can't handle playing all the time. Now it's spinning it. Well, that'll heat it evenly. Whoa. Stuck my screwdriver in there before it stopped. It's pretty warm, but I guess I'll have to turn this off and set it down. Try to hurry up and do something to it before it gets cold again. Usually you've got to keep the heat on them for it to be effective. Which glasses do I have on? I got the plastic ones on, okay. I had to look behind me and see what the others, which ones were laying on the bench. Oh, if I don't get too close, I can see better. I think I'm used to doing that with those other glasses. I'm actually farsighted. Heated it some more. is a lot of trouble to get this sticker off, but maybe it'll be worth it. Because if I get it off without tearing it up, then it'll be good for holding this thing to keeping me from losing my keeper. Because the ones where I tore up the sticker, a keeper, once you've had them off, they generally don't stay very good. So just that little bit of that sticker keeps them from popping off. I need another hand to heat this while I'm doing it. While I'm trying to lift it up. It's pretty hot. If I can get a good start on it where I can get a hold of it with my fingers, I can probably lift the whole thing off of there. I think this one is an aluminum sticker instead of that old paper. That's why it's actually... Definitely don't want to overheat this internal components of this fan. Do a lot more harm than good, huh? I warped the little fan blade thing. This hair dryer, all that little case I put my Raspberry Pi in, I accidentally melted the top of it. That's the lowest melting point plastic I ever seen to that case. It made it look like crap. It had all kinds of vent holes in it. And they all swelled up and got out around, and I think I drilled those vent holes in it. Anyway, I'm starting to get it. I had to do something to dress it up. It looked horrible. Heat it up some more. Hot, it hurts. If I don't see that keeper, I'm going to be mad after all this. I don't see it. I thought I felt the spot where that keeper was going to be through the paper, through the plastic. That's not a keeper, it's just a way it was formed, I think. It'll stop, it's just that I'm impatient. Alright, I'm not even going to take it all the way up. I don't think there's going to be enough stickum to really hold that together again. Oh, maybe that is it. It's really hard to tell. That is not the kind of keeper I'm looking for, though. I think I was in the right track when I went into the other side, and it just doesn't look what I expected. I'll show it to you up close and personal there. Okay. This is, that endoscope gets so hot you can't hold it after with that light on, but there it is. You might be able to tell that it's not, it looks like it's all one piece. I don't think I could endoscope it and dig at it at the same time. Maybe. That's all one piece. That does not come off. That's not a keeper. It's not a cap. And really the way this fan looks, that keeper's going to be on this side. Let me go ahead and just stick that back down. Maybe it'll stay. But yeah, this is not paper. This is aluminum like I was talking about. And it can handle that being peeled off and put back on. I mean, it won't ever stay real good, but some of them will stay, and even though they're spinning and everything, but some of them won't. But while it's still hot, I'll get it back on there, and then maybe it'll stay. Okay, now. But I'm probably going to go ahead and buy a new one, but I want to have one on there while I'm waiting on the new one to get here, so that's why I want to clean this one up. Now, this must be where the keeper is. It must be a cap in there or something. But I really, it's easiest to hold on to that barrel. Oh, you can't see it. Well, you can in that other camera. The barrel of this endoscope, I kind of need the light, but it gets hot with that light on. And I don't have it up all the way. I don't have it up very far at all. I can't hold it. It's so hot I can't hold it. It hurts. It's a little brighter than I really need it. Let me see if I can turn it down some. Turn it all the way down. Okay, let's just leave it off because there's a lot of light in my work area right now, so maybe it'll cool down enough so I can't hold it good like that. I want to hold it by the barrel, but it's too hot. I'm trying to, because if I hold it by the barrel, then I can get it at the right distance where it focuses. See, it doesn't, the way you focus it is get it to the right distance from what you're looking at. I'm using that preview and it doesn't help. Without the light now, I really can't see down in there though. Turn it back on some. Had it up higher than I realized. There. That's really where I thought I had it, just barely on. But that's not small enough screwdriver to get down in that. If I was set up, I guess I should set my table or use my keyboard tray to work on or something, and so I can look, you know, right up. Instead of looking behind me to the right, I'd be looking straight up in front of me at the preview, and then I could use it as a work helper. But then you can't get to the keyboard or anything, you know. But if I'd known I was going to be trying to do all this, I probably would have went in and set it up in a better way. But okay, so I'm going to have to just put this down and try using my magnifying glasses again. I'll use this close-up one and see. They have lights on them, and they're pretty good. But see, that doesn't spin, and that's what I was looking for, is that would, on the normal fan, all the other ones I've ever worked on and took apart, the keeper is on the shaft, the metal shaft that is usually made attached to this part. And so it should be attached on this side and coming through on this side and a keeper on there. And that's not how it is. And you can't see it spinning or anything. So I think this one is completely different than any of those others. It spins good. It's just obviously dirty. And I guess I started to do that to start with, but I thought, well, let's do it right, you know. Okay, well, I can see in there a little better. Oh. It's made all different. This, what I'm looking at is just kind of part of the plastic casting. I don't know why there's a hole there at all, but it's not it just goes so deep, and then See if I can show that again on the endoscope. This time I guess I'll go right just endoscope, even though it looks pretty. Okay, this is not, yeah, I can't really, yeah, now you can kind of tell what, that is just a dimple in it, you know. And I don't know if I can get it where you can see it, but, okay, see that big old wide, thick plastic? That, I believe, is basically like a barrel that the shaft is going up into. And you can't even see the shaft because it's enclosed in that barrel. Let's see, if I spin the, I don't know if I can get the fan to spin or not. There we go. Now this is what I expect to see. Got everything in the way. Yeah, see the fan's spinning, but that barrel is not. Don't think. Or is it? Yeah, I don't believe it is. By the way it looks like it's constructed, I don't think it is. So that shaft goes up inside of there, so that's what holds the shaft. It's just completely different than, like I said, any of the others. But that also makes it hard to get any cleaner to go where you want it to go. You want to, I've figured out, and WD-40 helps a little bit, but it doesn't clean that grime and dust and junk that gets in them, you know. And that's all that makes them drag, is getting dirty. And of course wearing out. If they wear so much that they're wobbling, then they'll end up binding because they wobble too much, you know. But after so long, but they do move like that. That's normal. But yeah, you can't see anything moving when you do that. You can feel the magnet. It wants to pull it back in place. And that's how come they work okay like that. But you can feel it bumping up against the keeper, the one that I can't see. I do not know how you would ever get this thing apart. I guess this is kind of interesting, so I'll go ahead and show what I'm discovering here. If you've taken these things apart, then this one, unless you've taken one of these apart, I've never seen one made like this. So yeah, when you can do that, and that's part of the circuitry. And what you can barely see the windings in there. I had the light brighter, you could see them better, but you can't get to the. You could probably just pull it apart. But then, how would you ever get the keeper back on it to keep it, you know, to make it, maybe it's a snap together, maybe once you pull it apart, go ahead and, I don't want to break it since I don't have well, I do have that other one, but I got a feeling that, I'm kind of thinking that other one is old and dirty and not working too good. And that's, because I think that's the one that used to be in my power supply amp, and I think I took it out because it started to making noise, or probably making noise. If it was not working right at all, I would have at least stuck a sticky note on it saying it's lost its power or it's not working right. But since it's in my box, it ain't completely dead. But the ones that are running slow or something like that, I put or that I know need cleaning but I haven't done it yet, I'll put a note on them. But yeah, I can put a little bit of pressure on it and it doesn't come out of there. So I think it could break something. I'm not sure how you, they may not really be made to come apart on, you know, there may be like a one-time snap together thing where they snap that in and the keeper gets a hold of its little slot on the plastic or the shaft or whatever. I mean, it's probably a slot on the shaft. That's the way the other ones are. And I can't remember all the details. I could take one of those and show you, but it's not like that, so not really much use in that. But this other one that is the right size, where is it? Let me grab it. It would go, let me unplug this hairdryer. I don't think we're going to use it anymore. Ugh. There we go. Now, well, it's cooled off. So I'm just going to roll it up. Because this old cable for it, when it's dangling around, it hangs on everything and just drives you crazy. Because it's all wound up like a spring. It's kind of like a spring now after being like that for so many years. Oh! Yeah, so probably not the best way to store your power cord for these. But it kept it from getting... I did fool around until I finally managed to... It's cool, so I can lay it over there. I managed to knock something off the table between the work table and the bed. What was it? It was a screwdriver, I think, that I actually want. Yeah, it's my long screwdriver. Can't even see it. Get a little light and see if I can see it. There it is. I think I can reach it if I don't fall on my face. There it is. Let me put it back in the toolbox. I can reach them real good with them in the toolbox. So if I'll just keep putting them back in there, I won't knock them off. Okay, now, that one big fan, the only one I got that's that size, it will have to be rewired. That's the thing. That's why I'm kind of deciding against it, is because this one may be making noise, but it's moving. It's not. It's spinning good. It's not slowing down or anything. This one may be very well not going very fast anymore. Where's my... Yeah, that's not a light on that thing. That's just part of the circuitry. That little blue thing there. You probably can't see it in this view. But, Daytech. Made in China. 12 volt, 0.7 amp. 0.70 amp. I think it's so dirty because it was in my power supply amp for a long time. And I just took it out and threw it in the box. Because I kind of think I remember plugging those into... Yeah, those are broke off. I think I remember taking those out of whatever connector. They see it has tape over one of the leads because I just used positive and negative. It's a red wire, but it's actually 12 volt. You know, the yellow is for 12 volt in computers. Normally, that's what they'll do. But they didn't do that with this. So the white one would be a sense wire, and I didn't need that in my power supply amp. There's not a motherboard in there to sense anything. This one's red and yellow and black. Yeah, they're just using whatever color they feel like using. Now the Molex connectors are usually color coded the right way. And you can usually go by that, but I guess you can't with the fans. So all I'm gonna, it's hitting that wire. It's, that's not the right way to put that in there. There. It puts it over by the blade. Okay. This would take a lot. I mean, this, I'd have to either get another connector somewhere else or use this one. But I don't want to mess this up because it does work. It just makes an aggravating noise. So I think I'm going to try spraying it good with my electric cleaner. See, if I could have got it apart, like this one is one of those kind you could take apart. I haven't peeled this one before. But you could take it apart and it would be, I can feel it. There'd be a keeper in there. I don't think I've had it apart before. Doesn't look like it. No, I've never had it apart. But I can feel the spot where the keeper would be. This is just a normal design like I've always seen. And I could clean this one real good. but then it needs a connector to go plug into the motherboard. And I'd have to rig one up. I wouldn't want to cut this one. I'd probably want to go find one off of something else. It'd have to be another fan, really. So I don't know. There's not anything there that I see right offhand that I'd want to cut the connector off of. So, I think I'm gonna. I've got my little blue gloves because that cleaner is rough stuff. I don't like spraying it in the house, but I've got my fan on and the windows open and all that. It's a nice cool day, so it'll air out. I don't like spraying it because I just don't like smelling it, and I definitely don't want to get it on anything, but I'm going to spray it. I think I'll get me a paper towel to hold over it too so it won't go up and all over the place, but I'm going to spray down in here. Let's see. There we go. Yeah. That might, clean it enough. Probably not, because I've tried it that way before. And you got to take them apart. And really, one of them, I kept cleaning on it. And you can clean the shaft pretty easy, but the bushing, if you get something small enough to go in the bushing and put some cleaner on there, this is the cleaner I'm using. Let me spray it again before I. The only way it's going to do much good is to spray it. I'm trying to get it down in the right area. That little straw. There. There's not a lot left in here. There. It won't spray much. It didn't seem like it was really even spraying unless I held it straight up and down. I got to get a new can of that. Wouldn't do any good to spraying that because that's not a hole going to anything. And the same way from this side, there wasn't a hole on this side. I mean, it doesn't have any resistance whatsoever other than the cogging of the magnet of the motor. Once it slows down enough, you'll see it. At the very end, it'll cog just before it stops. But it's not resisting, you spinning it or anything. Like I've seen some that they didn't want you to spin them, Not neat. But anyway, if you, I would use Scotch-Brite, or I mean, you could use like 500 sandpaper wouldn't hurt it. Really, unless you sand real hard on it and scuff the metal up, then it's just going to turn into a grinder and grind your bushing. The shaft, the metal steel shaft, so I wouldn't cleaning it with something like that. I'll show you what it is. It's what I finally learned. I used to lubricate them, clean them with WD-40. WD-40. It doesn't really lubricate it. It's really a cleaner, but it's not the best for electronics. It really leaves a lot of residue and stuff. If you spray like back in the 70s, 73, 75, when I started driving in 73, I think, when I learned to drive. But I started working on cars when I was like 12, trying to fix my mom's car. But I didn't really start working on them until I was 15, 16. But first thing I learned about WD-40, I read the instructions on the can, and I found out it's not a lubricant. It says that on there. And this right here is an electronics cleaner, and it's very good for electronic stuff. It'll clean contacts and stuff. It's called CRC QD electronic cleaner, and it dries up pretty quick. It's not a lubricant. Cleans and protects sensitive electronics equipment. Helps prevent contact failure, and it's really good. I've used it since the 70s. I learned about this in my job I had. Plastic safe leaves no residue. Now that's the key right there. Well, two key: plastic safe and leaves no residue. Now, some plastics will melt them, so you got to be careful. You better test it a little bit, you know, before you just start spraying the heck out of your plastic, because all the plastics are, you know, every plastic is made out of different. They're not all the exact same material. They're different melting points and different chemical resistance, and so. What I wouldn't worry about the blades or anything. I know it doesn't hurt them, but the you know, there's a lot of plastic it's holding this stuff together inside of there. What might be on the there's a little circuit board. I saw that on this thing. And but as far as the connections, of course, there's no switches or electrical contacts on here other than the conductivity in the electric field that the electric motor makes. But what I'm trying to do is clean the bushing and the steel shaft. That's what gets dirty and grimy and makes them not want to spin. And that's all that mostly goes wrong with these fans. That's what I've discovered. You think you think they're just wore out. There's something wrong with the motor. And if you'll clean them real good, instead of spraying WD-40 in them, or I used to for a while I was putting, I thought that lithium grease would be the greatest thing, because when you first put it on there, it makes everything spin like, it's slick as snot. Well, I mean, it makes everything spin, but you know what it does? It dries up and gets not only hard, but it gets gooey, and it makes things resist spinning. And I used to put it on, I put it on a bunch of these. Now that stuff's hard to get out of these things. And I put it on, for years I thought it advertised to be good for all kinds of things. Well, I don't know what it's good for. I've still got some because I don't use it anymore. I put it on door hinges and stuff. It cakes up and gets like cake icing, but it's gooey, and it makes the door resist, and it makes it squeak worse than it ever did before after it dries up. So I just got that plate to catch that stuff so I didn't get it all over the place. And it's already completely dried up, not even any no residue that you can feel. Now WD-40 leaves a grease, you know, a slick residue, but it causes, well, I was going to say, when the cars I had ignition points, just little switches that went like this, fast, you know, just, I don't know how many times they open and close, you know, per revolution of the motor. And you spray, now you can spray if you get your distributor cap wet, WD-40 dissipates water. So if you get your distributor cap wet and your points wet, you could spray them down and your engine will start right back up. It says that on the can. So I learned it. But if you leave it like that and you don't clean that WD-40 off your points, it will, they'll start burning. And they'll get, well, if you leave it for a while, they'll just burn up where you have to buy some more. But if you'll clean it off, with some electrical cleaner or something, then now back in those days I hadn't learned about any kind of electrical cleaner yet. I mean, I kind of knew there was stuff like that, but I didn't know where to get it or anything. But anyway, I'm going to put this back in there. Yeah, there's a lot more to all that. You know, you think WD-40 is just good for everything, but it's not. And there's really a lot of different types of lubricants and cleaners for different situations that you should learn about. Now, the WD-40 will usually I've sprayed it in these fans a lot. And it will usually make them spin better until it evaporates, and it doesn't take very long, about a week or two. It's all gone, and then you're just back to the same or worse than you were before you thought you cleaned it up with WD-40. I think it leaves a residue that, you know, during the spinning of it, it just makes things worse. Okay, so now, yeah, let's put the fan on there. I'm going to put that hard drive in there, but I'll put the fan back in there first. So I'm just going to go put this right back in. And I think I'll plug it up first because I think I might be able to do that with it out of the way better. Maybe if I put some light on this subject. I can't get that close enough for it to help as far as looking through it, but just the light may help. The problem is that where I need to put it to make light is where I have to look through it. There. Now I can do that, but then I couldn't have my hand in there this one. Did I get it? Yep. Okay. Now, that'll also tell me where I want, which direction I want to turn this fan. I think it's square, so I could have turned it whichever way I want. I think I want it that way, yeah. That way, when it's standing up, the gravity will want to make that go that way, not towards the blades. Because, boy, you got to watch out. Those blades are, they're out there. You know, they're going to get anything near them. Okay. Now, getting my light again. I got to put my screws out on something. There we go. I think this will hold it. My screwdriver needs re-magnetizing. It's not strong enough to hold a screw anymore. Wait, that's the wrong screw. Or is it? No, that is the right. Is that the right screw? Looks like the head's too small to. Oh, they kind of go down in there a little bit. Okay. Yeah. Because I was looking at what others I have. I have the big one for this one. I better kind of keep my finger. Just got to make sure it's straight when you start it. Grab the mouse. I can't do that with that touchpad worth crap. I want to make sure my stream is all working right and everything. It'll take so long, I might as well go back to work. Then I forget. But, yeah, I'm going to have to get another one of these fans. Or another fan and heatsink, whatever it needs. Whatever's the best, you know, price. I'd rather not have a fan just like that one. I don't like that you get into it so easy. I don't know how many times I've stuck my finger in that when it's running. You know how when a fan's spinning, you can't really see it. You think you can see where it is, but you can't. I'd rather not have a fan just like that. Yep. Okay. And that hurts. It makes you look dumb to everybody watching too. What did you stick your finger in there for? I don't know. It looked pretty. Look at that. It's pretty. It's spinning. Stick my finger in there. Uh-oh, I think I'm... Yeah, this is one of those where you better get them all down a little at a time. It's not going to go in... Oh, that one's just closer to tight than I thought it was. There. I knew there had to be at least one of them that it needed to move quite a bit to get in the right place. There we go. See, they kind of go down in there just a little bit. It is easy to get it on and off. I like that it has a machined aluminum and threaded spot for it to go into. That's a good looking and a nice honking heatsink. But I don't like that fan. I don't like anything that wears out that soon. I mean, the thing is, and I was kind of thinking about it, she doesn't run this very often. So, you know, it hasn't got a lot of hours of running like mine that run day in and day out. But for something like that, it's a bushing. No, you know, they really don't need lubricating. I mean, they don't really work better with if you could, you'd have to find the right lubricant that doesn't gum up at all. I don't know what it would be, really. I'm sure there's some, but I found that just cleaning them real good makes them work better because they're made to run dry. Bushing and a steel shaft. And you can't get to them to lubricate them the way they're made, like this one especially, you know. And you don't want to spray, most lubricants you don't want to spray all over. You don't want it in your electrical field, you know, even though that's not a switch. You don't want it in your switch if you have a switch. I think maybe, if anything, you could say is that it sets for days and a month or two even before she turns it back on. Well, it can oxidize sitting there like that, not being spun, you know. So maybe that's that's why I'm thinking, you know, there's probably nothing wrong with the motor. It's just that the shaft and it's maybe oxidized a bit, and it's why it's making noise and resisting, you know. It's obviously resisting turning, even though I couldn't really tell. You know, it wasn't resisting enough to go slow that you could see it wasn't going fast enough or anything. But now let me get this big one back in there. Oh, I don't know which way it goes. I hope it has an error on it. I got to thinking about the ones in the door. I don't know which way. Oh man, I don't see an error on there. I do not remember which way it was. I think maybe it was that way, but I'm gonna have to plug it in to see. Let me look at it. Sometimes I just don't see it right away. Where's that light? Sometimes there's usually a lot of them have somewhere on the side they'll have an arrow showing you which way the air blows. But I want it blowing out. I don't want it blowing trying to fight the what I was going to say about the door. I think when I originally got these, the door fan was blowing in. Well, this blows so hard out that I just thought that was ridiculous to try them fighting each other. So this one blowing out away from the heat sink, pulling the heat away from it, and then the door fan pulling it out, and this one pulling it out. There's not one in the front, so that would be the intake. And you've heard of the push-pull setup, that you put a fan in the front and then it pulls air in, and then the rest of them pull it out. But I just decided that the one in the door should not be trying to push air in, because it'd just be fighting the CPU fan. It should be pulling air out too, because that's the direction. It's going straight towards the door. So this one will go like that probably, but I think I'll put one screw in it. It may have, I thought it was square. I think it is. 4 3/4 pretty much. Yeah, it's square. Okay, so I want that like that. Yeah. And I think that that's what I remember seeing, but I really don't know for sure. So it actually fits in its spot pretty easy. So what do I do with that long screwdriver? There it is. I'm just going to kind of get one or two, a couple of them started, and get it turned on. See if it's the right direction before I go finish it up. I think that is, but I'm not sure. This is, I need to go back and then back in. It's crooked. That plastic is a little more tricky to hit there. A little more tricky to hit the way that it went in the last time. There. Okay, I'm gonna have to plug it up. Let's just see. What do we, oh, I gotta plug, I didn't plug the fan in yet. It should only go one way as well. Yeah, I can see that. Okay. Yeah, 4 pins. And see, this has got the jumper coming off to go to the door fan. And there's this the motherboard buzzer, motherboard speaker. It's just a little add-on. Doesn't have one with it. It's weird. Okay. Yeah, that's that BioStar motherboard that I think they're out of business now. That I wouldn't ever buy them again if they did. Although they are still working, it's just the way they treated their customers if they're out of business. Anyway, gonna leave those screws on there. I don't think I'll lose them. Well, I might. Starting to roll off. Put them back in there. Every time I don't do that, I end up losing screws or having to go hunt them. There we go. Okay. I just got thinking about when I put it in the rack, if I want to have audio, yeah, there's a headphone and a mic on the front, so I can just plug in the audio cable to the headphones spot and I'll be good. Okay, now. I'll switch my KVM switch to it so that when it boots up, I will be able to turn it back off. Oops. Yeah, when you go in there to feel the airflow, oh, I think it's going the other way. When you go in there to feel the airflow, you'll stick your finger into that CPU fan every time. It's so hard to tell on some of these. Yeah, it's pulling air in. See, these big ones, they move a lot of air, but they don't blow very hard. You can really, especially when they're not next to each other like that. Yeah, it's blowing that way, so I need to flip it the other way. To wait till it finishes booting up. But that old CPU fan is still making noise. You know what? I think that thing may push instead of blow air towards the... I think it blows air towards the heat sink instead of the other way around. Yeah, it does. So it's not only looks different, but it works the other way too. I guess if you'd learn the pitch of the blades, you could tell by looking at them, you know. If you'd learn to remember which way's which, but I forget. But yeah, it's sounds like a model airplane. But it is spinning, you know, it's not showing any sign of not spinning fast enough or anything, so. Yes, shut down. It didn't shut down. I was waiting for me to know if I really want to do that. Okay. But yeah, it sometimes it, you know, it gets quiet and you don't hear all that, so. It's not just the way it sounds or anything. Sometimes I wonder, is that just a loud fan? But earlier when I was messing with it, I heard it go down to nearly silent. So. Okay, so when in doubt, turn it on and check. Oops. Don't fall off there and get lost. You never know. Wherever you put something on that thing, it rolls one way then the other. Okay, so like that'll be fine. Yeah, and that way the cable will route down there and away from other things. There we go. Oh, I can see the threads made into the plastic from the last time it was screwed in there. Now that would have been one way I could have gave myself a clue if I'd have looked in there real good. I was going by the way it felt going in, and it seemed like it had had a screw in it before, but now that really seemed... No wonder they were going in crooked. They were making their first time. Of course, sometimes they've been in one way and then the other. Maybe like when I built the machine, I didn't know which way it's... Like, it's not labeled, so you just got to try it. So I probably put it together both ways. Let me look. Yeah, no, they're not all threaded. There's a lot of them that I have that have been put together either way, even if they're the only one that's ever done it, you know. Something I bought new, you know. Of course, sometimes, depending on the situation, you might want it. If you're moving it to one place to another, you might want it to go the other way. Like if it was in the front of the machine and you wanted it to pull air in. I used to do that some, but the more fans do use a good amount of amperage, you know. And if you got so let's say you put 2 or 3 hard drives or 4 hard drives in the machine, you think, oh, it needs another fan to help cool it down, which would make sense. But what you're not thinking about is that you're overtaxing the power supply, and then next year the power supply goes out because you were running it above what it could handle for a year or two. And power supplies are not cheap. Fans are. And if you got good airflow, like this is a big old case, and that's another thing I learned is just if the front end of that case doesn't have enough airflow, make some. There was one that actually was doing it for Jeff, the guy that's been giving me these computers. He would bring me computers, used to a few years ago, from people that he knew that needed some kind of... He would do, you know, all the email setup and all kind of things like that, but when it comes to, you know, redoing an operating system or hardware work, he would bring them to me, and I took, you know, these panels in the front that cover the expansion bays. One of them, I took it on my little bitty table saw, and I cut like 4 or 5 slots in it because it needed to get air in it, and it just didn't have a way to get air in it. Well, this one's closed up. Air is going to come in through there and through underneath here, and that's it. It doesn't have any breathing in the front. So that's some other reason why there's no point in putting a fan in the... Even though there's a place where you could put a fan in the front of that, it wouldn't do you any good. But with the big old door you got back here, you've got the big door fan in the door, and it came that way. That it vents really well. And matter of fact, it's like a heater. Man, it will burn you up because you're sitting on this side of it. The way it sits in my mom's room is the only way we could really set it, and it blows right on your legs. And in the winter it feels good, but in the summer it make you get overheated, turn red in the face, and feel sick to your stomach if you sit there an hour even. Okay, let's turn it on again before I go any further. It's a pain, but I'm gonna make sure everything's right. Okay, now I think I left that on its... Oh, I hit the switch. Yeah, now I can feel the air coming out the back. But yeah, that's it actually doesn't move as much air as I thought it did. I really can't feel air coming. Yeah, there we go. I can feel the air coming out of the vents. So it's blowing through the vents, and you know, it's going that way instead of most all of them I've ever seen. They go this way to pull it out of there instead of blowing it in it. I mean, either way, it's pretty much going to do the same thing. But like I was saying about the side fan blowing this way, I guess that doesn't. It's not such a bad thing in this particular machine. I probably just never caught on that it's really blowing the other way. Pretty darn sure about that, yeah. It's pretty tricky to tell because they're not blowing really hard. I think these fans are more about volume than about. This one is for sure. It's in volume, not about high speed pushing, you know, air fast. But now it's not making all that noise. It's not making that whining, irritating noise. Okay, so boots up pretty quick. Okay, so I'm going to put her. I'm going to unplug it again because I don't really want to. Oh, holy moly. I've got another power cable right here that I can use. But there's only 2 SATA slots. So, and her hard drive, her original drive is an SATA. Where is it? Here it is. Yeah. So I was going to go ahead and put it in there for when I want to back it up and do all that stuff. I thought that's a good place, you know, probably the best place to put it is in here. I'm not going to, you know, like directly, you can do that, but I'm not planning really on directly copying from this drive to that drive. I was really going to back this up to an image on my Seagate drive, and then take those 2 images. There'll be one for the boot and one for the main partition, and copy it over to here from the Seagate drive. I thought I would just see, but from what I remember, every time I thought about doing disk to disk, it was harder to get it to understand how to get it to do the 2 separate partitions the way I wanted. But so it's safer. I mean, if you copy it to if you're just doing, I wouldn't do disk to disk because it's complicated. If you make a mistake, you override everything that's on this disk. So I would just make a partition image, and then it'll be whatever size it is, and then when you go to copy it back, you can tell it to either make it that same size or to make it fill all the space that's available. And in this case, I would make it that same size. But yeah, see, there's only 2 SATAs on this board, and then there's an IDE, but that I'm not using. But this is not an IDE drive. And see, so I would have to unhook her DVD drive, which I could, but now I'm thinking, well, maybe I should just use my USB adapter and go from USB to USB, you know. I don't know. I mean, this is a pretty new drive. It might not make the noise that I was talking about in my sound system. What other machine would I put it in? I actually got to think, I was thinking, what am I going to do with this drive? I'm going to have a drive that I can do something with, and I got to thinking, it's narrow and everything, and I think that's the kind of drive that's in my Lenovo Wi-Fi. And I thought, you know what? I might be able to put it, if it doesn't draw too many amps, because it's got a brick power supply like a laptop. It doesn't have a real power supply. I thought, well, if it didn't draw too many amps, this drive here, I might be able to put it in there because it would fit. I think it's got one little spot, a bay, that won't take a full thick drive like that, but it might take that. I haven't opened it up to see, but I thought I might could run those 2 drives and put Windows 7 on one and Linux on the other, or Fedora on the other. Then it'd be a dual boot, and that's the machine I run all day, every day. And usually when I want to use some Windows, I want it on another machine separate, because I don't want to be, I only want to do one little thing, one task, say like backing up to Google Photos. I want it to be on a separate machine that I don't have to wait for it to be doing its work. I don't know. But anyway, if I put it in there, let's see. I mean, I can put it in there. And the only drawback would be that I would have to, of course, I wouldn't need this extra. There's quite a few extra power connectors for all kinds of things. There's 2 more SATAs. There's another. There's 1, 2. Let's see. There's Molex. There's some more all kinds of fan connectors or something. There's some more motherboard. Extra different, extra. This one's got a 4-pin. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another 6-pin. Well, some of these are for some graphics cards have to have those now. Some of the newer graphics cards. This one did not need that. Some of them do. If I'd have got like a gig or 2 gig, it would have, most likely. Okay. Here's another. Oh, here's the other one for the motherboard. That's the one that's 8-pin. So it'll do 8-pin. Or 4-pin, I don't know. Some of them are 6-pin. I was reading just the other day. But because I was trying to find the power supply of my power supplies that I have, one that would work in that AS-ROM. I don't have one. Oh, and there's 2 more SATAs dangling down there off of the one that I'm using. But I really wouldn't want to leave that power plugged in without no data cable. So I would probably just, I'd probably use this one just because it's closer to where I'm at. But here's the other one I saw. There it is. Yeah, there's a lot of connectors here. Oh, I see. That's the one it's another pigtail off the one I'm using. But yeah, there's plenty of connectors on this for this power supply. This is the 450 watt that came with this went out, and I bought this 650 watt to replace it. And I wanted it to be ready to handle if I did upgrade this, because I already had that board that could do all the way up to an 8-core processor. So if I had decided to upgrade it, then I wanted to have a good power supply that could handle it. That, and I didn't want it to be running, whatever they say they're 450 watt, well, they're really going to run probably at 350, 400. If you give them very much, more than that for any length of time, they'll go out. So they lie about what they can really do constantly. On power supplies, everything they do that'll quite a, but on power supplies, I've read and read. Don't trust the specs on power supplies. So, and I believe it now. I've had enough of them go out. Used to years ago, I didn't know. I just thought, well, I'm old, and when an electric motor said it was 3/4 horsepower, it was a 1 horsepower motor. Used to. Now, it's exactly the opposite. If it says it's a 3/4 horsepower, it's lucky to be a 1/2 horsepower. So, when I was young, growing up, when I was a young adult, it was the opposite with things. Back when things were made in America. Now, if you make stuff in America, they try to compete with the rest of the world, and they just don't really. Much of it's, if it is better, then it's costs a whole lot better too. To get now, you got to pay. Of course, you always had to pay more to get better, to a certain extent. Of course, you can always pay more and get nothing, get crap still. Just get something that's a fad. But let me see. Get that power out of there. Didn't realize I left that plugged in. Dang it. See, the reason I'm going around and around about this is because I'm planning on sticking this down in my rack under there. And I don't want to have to pull it back out. If I want that power, that thing in there, I want it in there. And until I, leave it, and be able to leave it on there until I'm done setting their operating systems up. And then when I pull it out, well, take the hard drive out and plug this back up. Can't think of why I would actually need to use the, I've already installed the operating system. I used USB. Can't think of why I would actually need to use the DVD drive. So I could probably just put it in there and leave the DVD unhooked until then. Probably be better because I know that plugging that hard drive into that USB adapter is most likely going to... I've never plugged a drive into my power supply amp that didn't make noise, at least a little bit, and I can't stand it. So I guess hard drives are noisy, and it's only... well, I guess, you just don't realize that audio amplifiers are going to pick up any kind of machine noise, I mean, they do. In the car, I used to have trouble with that, and I would... There was a... What was it? Well, there's a noise suppressor that you could put in your line, in your power line, to stop that from getting engine noise. You'd get engine noise. Well, whenever I put a real wire instead of just carbon spark plug wires, you'd get that problem. I was always into hot rodding and performance, and you could put a little noise suppressor in the power line going to your radio to stop that. And I used to always do that. So. Yeah, that still makes noise, but not electric noise, but just mechanical noise. Well, that's fine, I guess. I don't like it because I think, oh, I'll end up needing that, or I'll forget. Well, I'm not going to forget completely because I know that drive's in there, and I know I don't want to leave it in there. I can't think of a better place to have it, really. I mean, it could be somewhat convenient to have it on that USB adapter, but then I can plug it into any machine I want to do my work to it. Well, let's see. I don't have that software. I would have to boot to Parted Magic. Well, I can do that on the USB. I have to boot this machine to Parted Magic. I can do it on most of my machines. Well, I don't have to use Parted Magic. I just need Clonezilla. I think I might have that installed on. It might be installed on my main machine. I just feel a little hesitation about doing it now. I don't. It may just be an extra step that's going to. Let me get over here and see. I suppose I could plug it into that adapter and see if it makes a noise. I was thinking about that, and I kept thinking, I don't want to do that. Let's do it. Where is it? I had it close, easy to find. Oh, I think it's in my box up here with my headset. Okay, get this thing. It's gonna fall. Get my preview reloaded again. Oh, my back is tired. It hurts for some reason. Okay, here we go. Still didn't ever get that. I'm trying to get myself together. Okay, there we go. I just want to make sure I hadn't lost my stream or anything. It's been a while. Okay, let me get off of that machine. I'm on it with my switch, but it's not even wired up to be able to run right now. Okay. I'll just go to camera 1. Well, I've still got these on. They're uncomfortable after a while. Depending on what you're looking at, definitely they're not good. They kind of make my eyes hurt when I look. Actually, they kind of feel like they're hurting anyway. They do something. I guess they're stronger than I really need, but it depends on, like I said, what I'm looking at. But they kind of make my eyes strain. Not from not being, with these, they're just right for looking at the computer and in general stuff, but things like what I was doing just now, those others actually seem to help, but I think they're also maybe a little too strong, because my eyes are kind of, left eye especially is kind of hurting. Okay, here's the hard drive that I keep talking about. I don't know if I was not even holding it under the camera, forgot where I was at, what I was doing, or anything. This is the one that was originally in her machine, 250 gigabyte, with her old operating systems on it. And I have, I think it's in here, in my headset box, or it's not a headset box, but it's just a box that I have my headset in. Okay, let's put that back in there. Yeah, got a nice little case for it and everything. Actually, I think maybe this case was, it was for something else. It was for a hard drive enclosure that I thought it would fit a regular hard drive when I ordered it, but it was actually for, well, what it turned out, the only thing that we ever came across that it fit was an old Dell, an older Dell, I don't know if it's a Celeron or Pentium 4, but that age of single core processor hard drive would fit in the, it was a real nice looking little metal case and everything, and you could, you know, use it as, turn it into a USB drive. But see, it's got, this will plug into IDEs, then it has a little SATA adapter where it can plug into SATA drives. I don't know if I want one of those. I've got longer cables, there we go. So now I can plug it into that hard drive, and then the USB goes in there, and then there's an adapter here that came with it so that you can power a SATA drive with the most female, well, it's actually male. It looks female, but it's male. You can't look at the case, you have to look at the pins. Those are male pins in there. The normal Molex are female. So it'll go into a Molex. And so I'm going to plug it in. I've been thinking I should do it since I took it out of there. So let's do it. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna have to look on my. Got them labeled as to what they're doing. Oh, okay. Huh. Oh, what is this? Oh, I've got one all wired up to get 5 volts to, I used to use it on my, I think it's the cable from my old switch, my old network switch. Yeah, it is. But it's still wired up. Well, because it'll fit a lot of different things. Okay. And what's this one? I think that one, 11.9. They're saying 11.9 volts. I was thinking I had, I know I have one that's, oh, there's a SATA. 11.68 volts. That's probably not going to power that drive. Is there any more? I may have shoved the ones that they weren't. There's one of these power supplies that doesn't put out enough to work, run a drive. 11.68 volts. I don't know, it may not run it. Let's put this one. Uh-oh. Heard a noise. Did I make something go off? I don't think so. I was just kind of wheeling them around. I didn't short anything out or anything. That is a possibility if you touch any of these ends to something metal, you know. But the case front of this cover is plastic, so. But I was kind of pulling on them. 161. I don't think that one. I think I remember it didn't work good. I definitely don't want to try something that wouldn't be good for the drive. 11.9. 11.9 should be fine. But I didn't remember. I thought I had something that were right at 12 volts. And there's one that I've got. It's gone down to just 2 pin. Positive. Oh, it's 5 volt. Yeah, it's hooked up to the 5 volt, the red. And then 11.9. Okay, so I didn't remember that I had it, how I had it. I haven't pulled any of these out and used them in a while. Didn't know it was going to take forever. Okay, that's the ones that should work, and I can put my adapter on them. What I was thinking a minute ago, I got to thinking, well, that's going to be kind of hot plugging it. Gotta make sure I get those right. Okay, it only goes one way, yeah. I'd rather, either way, plugging it in hot to the drive. I can't remember. Do you see? Yeah, you need the drive up and running before you plug it into the computer, I think. I guess I'm going to have to take that USB out of there, though. It's the only way I'm going to get a... Unless I want to plug it into something else like well, that wouldn't be of much use. So I guess I will unplug my USB camera. I'm not really using it right now anyway. Just that I'll have to close OBS Studio and open it back up if I want to use it again. And so now I won't be doing any more close-ups. Okay. Oh, that plugs into the drive. Okay. I can't remember. Yeah, I think I want to get it spun up and then plug it in. I can't really remember for sure. One way, on the IDE drives, it's particular. It won't work if you don't do it in the right order. On these, I don't know because I haven't had too many of them. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Now this is the power. Can't see it. Can't show you what I'm doing without moving cameras all over the place, so I'm not going to do that right now. But I'm just plugging it up, that's all I'm doing. Trying to. Okay, now. There we go. It may not. Can it? Oh yeah, I think I feel it. It's so quiet, I didn't hear it spin up. But I feel it vibrating a little bit. Yeah. Actually, I think you can. Okay. There we go. Now, I should be able to. Trying to find a place where it's safe, where it's not gonna. Unplug it. Unplugged it, shoving it around. Okay, it can only go so far, and then it will unplug it. So I got to be kind of careful because my cables are dangling out into the wild way yonder there. There's that noise. It's kind of a high-pitched noise. Oh, and that. That's why I don't do it. Yeah, all the drives do that. There, it mounted. It's working just fine. There it goes. It even opened up a file browser. Well, I guess you can see in that, right? It's top, yeah. So there you go. That's why I don't do that. I can't stand that long enough to do anything. This one's making more noise than ever. I always thought it'd be kind of fun to record that and make a little music with it. But that's coming through the speakers, so doubt you're. It's especially coming through my big old speakers, my 10-inch speakers with the big 10-inch subs. Well, it's not that big, but the biggest ones I got. Big for a house, anyway. Big for a bedroom, I'd say. But it is working. Yeah, when you open folders and stuff, it makes staticky noises and stuff. As it's bringing in the previews, is making noise. Previews of icons and stuff. When you move the mouse around the file browser, it makes noise. So I'm going to unmount it and unplug it. It says unable to stop drive. It's busy. It unmounted it. It says it can't do it and it's busy, but it unmounted it. It's not there anymore. So, unplug my USB. Yeah, well, as soon as I plug my USB into the machine, that's when it starts making noise. So I don't know how much of that you could hear, but really loud through my speakers. And it's independent of any volume knobs. It's not coming through the computer. It's going through the amplifiers because the power supply that's powering the amp is also powering the hard drive. So that's not going to be a go there. So there's the answer to that little dilemma. I really shouldn't have even worried about it that much, but I did. So, oops, I'll go to this camera for now. And it's a cool thing, but it was more usable when it's on, and when its power supply came with it wasn't broke. When it died, it just went dead and quit putting out anything. A little wall wart, you know. It's I had those power supplies set up under my desk and wired together. I could get 24 volts out of them if I wanted it for a long time before I put them in a box and put the audio amps and all that with them. So I used to do it that way and I didn't get all that noise. It's the fact that the audio amps are sharing the same power supply as that. So there's not really anything I could do that I know of I know how to get rid of that noise. So that just makes me not really use this anymore. Unless I'm desperate and I'm willing to put up with that sound for a while. That's the loudest I've heard it. Those IDEs aren't quite as bad as that was. It's just making a pulse. Okay, so I guess what I'll do is go ahead and put it in that machine, because that's really going to be the easiest one to put it in, I think. Unless it was my machine that I use all the time. You know, like I was thinking about would it work in there? That would be, I could do making my images and all that without having to, let's see, let me get on the desktop again. I want to see if I have that program.
All right, back on the desktop here. Let's see if I have Clonezilla. Clone. Well, that's clone, resize, virtual. Oh, clone and resize, manage your VM hard disk. I need that app. I got my WinXP that's only got like 2 or 3 gigabyte left, and okay, if I could just remember that. A disk. Okay, disk management. I don't have Clonezilla on here, I don't think. Yeah. Image. Of course, these are. I don't think I have anything on here. I've never tried to make a disk image. I'm gonna look. Extender. I'm gonna have to look at it. I can't remember it. Or I can. I hit double keys, so I had no idea what what was in there and where I messed it up. All right, now. On the desktop. Yep. Okay. Looks good. Now I want to look for Clonezilla. I don't know if you can just install that out of Fedora repos or not. I can't remember. I know I've had a couple of apps like that on my Fedora 14 system. It's still on there, but they'd be pretty old. I'd rather use the newer versions, you know. So let's see. I think probably my original idea of putting it on, putting it in her machine and just I'll either boot it up to my Parted Magic that has Clonezilla on it, or install Clonezilla or something. What's it doing? It's not finished yet, is it? No, it's still working. There we go. So no. Disk image. Let's see. So I know there's bound to be some stuff to do that with. Cloud utilities. Recover files by carving them from a disk. But yeah, Clonezilla, one of the ones I really like, is not in there. Just the image builder that are useful standalone. Darvish, I remember that name, but I don't know anything about it. Disk-based backup, yeah. There's some that I've tried, and there were two I couldn't get the hang of them. Some of them you have to do it. Well, Clonezilla, you do it in the command line, but it's got a wizard, and it makes it tells you how to do it. It tells you, like, if you're there is some things you got to remember on your own, but most of it tells you, well, you looks like you need to do this, looks like you need to do that. So you can figure it out from the program. Guest file system browser. But some of the others, man, you got to get them right, every little, and it's all command line work. If some of them, you have to know the commands and type the commands in. But with with Clonezilla, you're just using the you have to type in addresses, like where you want it to be and stuff like that, but or you want to save it and stuff like that. That you got to remember how to type it out in the right format, and get that right. But creating Anaconda installer images, That's what they use. I think they still do. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, Fedora 27 still uses Anaconda. I saw it made 2 Anaconda partitions on the USB stick. That's for making them. I always wanted to make my own remix. What I wanted to do is take my system I had built up and make an image of it so that I could just install it on other systems. But I never did get there. There used to be a graphic tool that would help you do it. And I made one on Fedora 11. I made one of my Fedora 11 system, and then they quit supporting it. They just quit developing it, and it wouldn't work anymore. And they quit, updating it or developing it. And They still tell you, would tell you how to do it in the command line, but I just can't get all those commands right. Create legacy-free OS images. Oh, I don't know exactly what that is. Huh. There's a QEMU. That's a VirtualBox is one type of virtual, you know, system that you can run virtual operating systems in. QEMU is another one. It's pretty good too, but well, it'll run some things that you can't run in VirtualBox and stuff. Anyway, several years back, let's see, yeah, for Fedora 14 I had it working pretty good, or maybe it's before that, and then I don't know, some changes made some things harder. I couldn't get it to working again in the newer Fedoras. BertDib, yeah. Safe and secure alternative to OpenStack disk image builder. Virtualize the running distro or a simple rootfs. I don't want to virtualize it. Virtual converter for different hard disk image types. Let's see. Convert on the fly between multiple input and output hard disk image types. Xmount creates a virtual file system using Fuse. Oh, we used to have to install Fuse to mount NTFS drives or partitions on your in Linux. Now it's all automatic. You used to have to install it and set and kind of get all its helper apps too, all its dependencies. Oh, this is more to do with virtual images and stuff. Interesting. Okay, so I think I will just put it in her machine like I originally was thinking, and switch back to the wireless so I can go over there. Like I was thinking, because then I can just boot that up. You know, I won't. Well, I can do it. You know, like I've been doing. If I want to show it, then which I probably will, I can use remote desktop to show my work. Well, if I can get remote desktop to server to run in Party Magic. I was kind of thinking, no, I started to say maybe their TeamViewer might come with the newer Party Magic, but I don't think so. There's a virus scanner that it comes in. But so yeah, let's do that. Getting tired and hungry again. I guess this day's gone away quicker than I realized. Okay, where is it? There it is. I guess after I get this done, I don't know if I'll even do that today. I mean, I'm unusually tired and sore. I don't know why I'm sore, really. But I'm going to unplug the DVD drive, and I'll just leave that power cable going there. I'll use one of these down here, and the SATA cable, kind of reroute it a little bit. I think I might slide that in down below this one, either below or above, one way or the other. There's some cables already down there. That's where they're hanging. So yeah, I think I'm going to slide it in below it, and I think that'll probably be the way to go. Let's see. I don't know. Those cables are making it a little more tricky than I was expecting. I don't want them close together. There we go. Yeah. And I'm just going to put 2 in it, but maybe I'll find, I got lots of screws. I'll see if I can find a couple that are longer than what I was using before.
scale over there. That's what you call them little short rulers. You call them a scale. You don't call them a ruler. So learn to be accurate, precise, or whatever. Let's see. That's a big. See if that one will. Gotta make sure I got one that fits it. I think I'll try one of these that's not lined up with anything. Make sure. Yeah, that goes in there. Seems like as good as anything. Guess it just wasn't lined up good. But since I'm not going to leave it in there permanently, I'm not going to take the case off, cover off the other side to put 4 screws in it. That's the lowest one. I was thinking, well, maybe I should put it down on the very bottom of the case to give it a little more extra support, but that's the lowest one that's got screw holes. That doesn't, I was going to say, that don't act like it wants to go all the way in. Oh. I don't think those fit after all. Dadgummit. They're too small. So I hope I didn't booger up those threads. Dadgummit. You make me mad. Okay. Let's see if that one is. Yeah, that one should be alright. I was trying to go by memory of what the heads look like as to whether they would be the right screws. That didn't work out so good. Yeah, that one's a good one. And it's longer than those ones that were originally in there. That one I didn't run it down so hard that it skipped a tooth. I don't know if I have another one of those kind of screws like that one I just put in there though. There's so many in there close together that it's hard to see what you got. Oh wait, what's that? Is that one? Oops, don't lose it. Finding a lot of those ones that I don't want. I didn't know I had a bunch of those. I guess I need to get the magnifying glass. I think where my back hurts, I can feel it. I've just been leaning over this stuff, you know, doing what I'm doing. There's one. And it's getting to me because I'm not used to it. I don't know if that's going to be tight or not. No, yeah, that's all right. I definitely don't want one that's not. No, I don't think it is either. Not big enough. Maybe, but some of these hard drives, their threads are not like the others. Dang it. They're usually a little smaller than. That was a smaller screw too. Just had a different head on it. There. Got my fingernail under it and got a hold of it. I don't think you can use just one of these. Let's try one, I guess. Nope. What is that? That's a... I guess I better get my... Oh, that was a small... That was a machine head. It wasn't a regular sheet metal screw. But I don't think... that the ones... You know, the case screws, I don't think the ones that'll work in the case will work in the hard drive. Don't think. Oh, there we go. I mean, you can make them go in there, but they're sheet metal screws, and these other ones are machine screws, I believe. But not the small ones like I had. And some of them are, the hole's only so deep, and if you try to get too long a one, then it won't work. I think this is another small one. I didn't think this would be a problem finding a screw for this. The one I put in there may not be right either. I may just not tighten it down enough yet to find out. Let's try one of these that would normally go in the case and see if it'll do it. You know what? I think that's what I'm needing. Yep. So I'll just get a couple of those regular hex and Phillips combo that would also go in the case in the door. There we go. I just don't want one that's too long. I definitely have a good. That's what kind of threads are in there. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Don't want it over tightened. Just want it tight enough to hold it. But these must have been bigger than I thought they were. Those 4 that I took out of that hard drive and put into the new hard drive. Huh. Okay, now we're finally in business. Okay, now put you together. I'll put you down here. Let's see, what do I want first? I want the power first. Okay. Where's my L? L's on the top for the power. I think. Let's see. Yep. It's just a little more resistance than I was expecting for going on there. There. Okay, top for the power, but it's on the bottom for the data. So you really gotta, that's something that'll catch you when you're not paying attention. There we go. Okay. Yeah. And go ahead, I think I can go ahead and put my door on and plug its fan up. Should be okay now. Yeah, this one has a fan. Has a fan in the bottom of it instead of in the back. And it's a big fan. So I think it would probably move air pretty good. Now this needs to be plugged in before you try to hook it up, try to slide it in place. And that's got a Molex adapter coming off of that. It's only a 2-pin coming off of that 3-pin that goes around here to this one. Case fan. Okay, now, and you got to kind of watch that it doesn't lay over that open fan there. Let's see, I think I will leave the screws out till I turn it on at least once. Where's my... I think I'll stand it up. And turn it on. Well, let's turn it on like that and then stand it up like I did before. see what it sounds like. I want to be able to see in there. And of course, you can see in there too. See it before I do. Okay, now. All right. Well, this is taking all day long. I thought it would take me an hour. Oh, anything I think is going to take an hour takes 8 hours or 10. Yeah, that's blowing out like I said. I thought I had set it up. It's just got a nice, pretty red light. It's got red lights on the front. I don't know if you see, I'm sure it's in some of the other videos. But, well, that's still playing my preview. I just forgot to ever pause it. I just never realized. So, let's let it get booted up before I do anything. Right now it's not making any extra noise. Did that the last time I started, first time I started it up laying down. Or maybe it is in the door on it, makes me not hear it. But that dog's making plenty of extra noise, isn't it? I don't know where that dog, where it's at, but suddenly just started barking. Sounds like it's across the street. I usually hear one beside me here, not across the street. Okay. I'm going to put my, before I try to stand it up, that door will be liable to try to come off if I don't put the screws in it. Right now it's not really loud and annoying. We'll see if it changes tone when I stand it up. So, actually, if that's, well, I still think that having this one blowing out the back and this one blowing out the side is the best way to go. Because that air can go, let's see. Well, I can kind of see where if this is blowing towards the CPU and if this one was blowing down and that one was blowing out, that might, maybe it would make better airflow. I guess from what I kind of remember is I noticed that and I swapped them because I thought I didn't like that and I thought it was wrong. Because I thought it should, you know, I thought it would be fighting the CPU fan, but the CPU fan is not blowing the way that all the rest of them do that I've ever seen. I don't know how come I didn't figure that out. There we go. I think it changed its tone, that's for sure. When I turned it over. Yeah. So when it gets turned over, it puts a, you know, the gravity puts a stress on it in a different way. It puts its weight down and can't exactly explain it, but in a different way. And I almost wonder if that power supply fan isn't sucking air in instead of blowing it out. That would sort of make sense. That would cool the power supply better, because I always thought, you know, power supply is pulling, this is in the top of the machine and it's pulling all the heat of the processor and everything else through the power supply, just stressing it, you know. So if it is made that way, I think that makes good sense. But I can kind of see now how having this one blow the other way, since that CPU fan's blowing down. Of course, I'm going to buy another one, so we'll wait and see how it works. It's been like this ever since I built the machine, and it hasn't hurt anything. It's never overheated or anything. I don't think there's that much difference either way, you know. It's not running on the edge or anything. It's got good cooling either way, really. But it does blow, like I said, towards my mom's legs with it like that. So this time I think I may want to log in for a second. I don't know if it matters though. Well, yeah. Yeah. Actually, I can just hurry up and... Yeah, it's loud as it ever was. I think it's begun to make that noise. It'll kind of get worse and get better and get worse and get better. But I guess that's why banging on the other the case or anything didn't make any difference, because you can't hardly bang hard enough to shake the CPU fan. You know, it's got the board itself, the motherboard itself will kind of insulate. You know, setting up on risers, so, or out on risers, insulated from any case. Now, so you can see that red fan. I reloaded my preview. But you can see the red side case fan. I think what I'll do is go ahead and turn on KRFB. Oh, well, you got to plug in a network cable if you're going to do that. I just looked up there and the network says no network. I'll go ahead and do that because I want to look at, you know, how if that hard drive's mounted properly and everything, and I might as well do that, show it as I do it. And then I'm going to be done for the day, I think. Seems like I'm quitting early, but I guess it seems that way because I've been, well, I got up at 6:30 this morning. I finally got up in the daytime, so I'm just, everything seems weird. But normally I hadn't even got up yet, you know, or lately. Normally this would be, I don't know, I've forgotten. It depends on what day. Every day's been different lately, so. Normally it would be, not, my normal is abnormal, it's rotating. So I'm trying, that's the only thing I can say about that. Okay, now my camera that I normally show the screen with is pointed at the top of the machine right now. But I'll just get, let's see, I got network now, looks like. Yep, same address as it had before. But yeah, I think I will just go ahead and order her a new fan, or the whole CPU and fan. Yeah, I still haven't done anything about that GPG key. Okay, I think I'll be able to log in now. But yeah, it's first, you know, until yesterday's when it really hit me. I just realized, you know, I haven't had all the listening to that whine and sound. So today, when I woke up, again, that's how it's been going. When I wake up, it's when I guess my brain is working. I've said, everybody says that, I guess. My brain was working while I was asleep, figuring things out. So oh yeah, I switched to the desktop, but I didn't switch to the, I wanted to switch to the other mic. Okay, now, we'll go ahead and get that up and going. That's kind of cool that it saves the last one you're on. It can be convenient. Now, here we go. Now, there's Mom's machine up and running again. But now we should have another hard drive in here, her old hard drive. Now, I wonder if Grub will automatically update and see that hard drive and add it to the boot list, or if I would have to run. I seem to remember them saying you don't need to run update Grub anymore, but I don't know. There's a, well, yeah, I think you have to. Oh, you used to have to install an app that would make all that work, but now you don't. I think you still would have to run update Grub, but I don't want it to add that because it's going to be coming back out. I was just wondering what would be happening. So, oh, I could have, there's the, well, either way, yeah. It's not giving me where I can read it all. You can go up here to places and see everything. See, that shows you all the drives up there. So there's my two partitions I haven't used yet. See, Fedora 13, which I originally built that machine in Fedora 13 and then upgraded to Fedora 14. I had forgotten that I did that until I saw that.
But then that's the mate. That would be the mate operating system and backup drive. And so you can see that. Did I see something that said mate on there? Yeah. Oh, mate search tool. Not mate. Mint Linux. So this is the Fedora. But this is a Fedora system, so you just need to be root, and then I should be able to mount it. Let's see. There we go. Now I can go get into all our old files and do whatever I need to do. This probably turn out the best way to do this. Oh, I'm not seeing anything yet. Is it taking a while or is it not working right? Fedora can mount LVMs, so it should be okay. But I'm not seeing the files. Hit reload and make sure it's just not slow at loading them up. Maybe I don't have the right stuff to, but it let me go there. It's just not, well, what it'll do sometimes is, like when it's a root partition, it'll let you go to it, but you won't be able to read the files. It'll let you go to the directory, but, that's not what I expected. Shouldn't be any. Oh, okay, yeah. See, that's the I put that in there so I could get to. There's my Seagate expansion drive. That's not plugged in there. Must be leftover. Yeah, it says there's an X on it. It's leftover from when it was in there. That when it was in that system. But that would probably take me to there. But what I was going to do is go there because I don't know is it. Oh, let's see what happens when we do that. That's the same exact stuff again. Oh, now it's working. I don't understand that. Maybe that's just some kind of leftover label that's no good anymore. I mean, it's sort of good, but not really. I mean, I went to something, but yeah, there we go. So that's the way to get there, as far as getting to her files and stuff. There we go. Well, I thought I was really being surprised that I don't understand why that is all there but not working. Must be something because of me doing that upgrade. So I'm going to go here to navigate from there on. Now, media. That doesn't show anything. But if I go here, and I go media, I saw it a minute ago. Then I've got the Backman OS. That's not there anymore. It's left over from when I had it in there when it was running before I did. Okay, but you can't see the files. But that would be her Mint Linux and all their backup files if I could get to them. Yeah, that wouldn't go anywhere. Yep. Okay. Well, let's go back up here again. Try going to media again. It's empty. Oh. Mount has a bunch of stuff in there. That's weird. This is Fedora 14, so it did, I don't know if I put that in there or what. It's not active now. Some things would get left, well, especially if you put them in there yourself, things would get left behind sometimes. So I don't know if I can get to it doesn't matter. I don't need it at all. I'm just curious as to what's going on here. So I should be able to go into root. No, even though I typed in the root password, it won't let me go in there. Let's see if I can go in there from here. The root directory. Nope. Don't have permission. So even though I put in the root I put in the root password for this system, not for that one. You know what? I learned this a long time ago. If you keep using the same, if you use the same username and password and the same root password, it probably would have. If it was the same root password as that system, that system was, it probably would have let me do it. So that could be a plus and a minus. But it definitely made things more like on that Mint system. I made the same username, same password, theta, and then the root password was the same in both systems, and that was the only way I was able to use that Mint drive as a backup. But and then that 524 megabyte, I don't know if it's this systems or the old ones. Probably the old ones, because I just was able to just go right in there. Yeah, this is I'm pretty sure that's Fedora 14. Yeah, because the new one is a gigabyte drive partition. EXT Linux. Yeah. So if I were to look at grub config or anything, let's see, menu list. I just want to view it. Well, I'm going to say other application to make sure I open it with a file of text viewer. I don't know what it would open it with. Text viewer. I don't want to make sure I don't mess it up or anything. Oh, it says it can't even open it. Oh, it doesn't have the permission. Yeah, root permissions for that system. So anyway, yeah, and then menus. Some of my old menus I saved in there and stuff. I guess I had to work on it to get Mint to boot. What it looks like, menu with Linux Mint 9 not working. Fedora 13 menu list. Could probably open that one. Yeah, this is a menu list file for booting, a boot menu. And this is one that when it was Fedora 13. You used to have to manually edit those to get a new system, extra drive to extra operating system to dual boot. But with Grub 2, you don't have to do that anymore. You just, well, I think you just run update. I think it's just update space grub or something like that. You might have to tell it where. Well, no. If you're on the SDA of the system, the first partition, first drive is the one your operating system on is the first one, then it'll write it to that one if you just say update grub, or I don't remember the exact command, but anyway, have to look it up. That's pretty weird though. It's definitely got some funky things going on since I had done that upgrade. I don't remember seeing it like that before. And for some reason, I did have a user for me on there, and then I really did. I don't think it looks like I never even put any files in there. There might be, no, not even any screenshots. Okay, so, whoops. But you see, the newest backup is on my, the newest backup of all her files is on my Seagate backup drive, not on her old drive anymore, because I've merged everything together on it. But the newest Thunderbird profile is going to be on that laptop she's using. So this, I'll just go ahead and make an image of it. I'm not going to worry about the files, because it's not going to be a backup file for files. I'm going to have another. I've got this. Never have tried to. Oh yeah, I'd have to do that to mount it, but there's nothing in there, so I'm going to try to hit cancel. These two 667 gigabyte volumes, one of them will have I'll put all this on it, but you can't just copy it over there. You have to. It won't boot. You have to. Or at least the easiest way to do it is to make an image and then put that image onto the drive. And then the other one, the furthest one, I don't know why I keep clicking on those. And then the last one, I'm going to, since they're in that order, I'm going to say that's the last one. That one I will be the backup drive, have be the backup drive. And I'll set up Lucky Backup. I'll set up Lucky Backup, I'll change it in the old system to go to there instead of where it used to go, to the Mint. I won't put the Mint Linux one on the new system at all. She never used it. So really, to her, it was just a backup drive, and she never had to go get any of her backups. She didn't know how, Now, there's one I didn't try to get into, did I? Oh, that's the old root partition, I think. Yeah, let's see. Let's see if I can get to it. Yeah, okay. 67 gigabytes. But it can't go anywhere really. Maybe that's the... No, it should be the same size. It should be 119 gigabytes. That's the old root partition, yeah, from the old system. So you've got the boot partition that you'll have to make an image of. And then, yeah, you'll have a separate root partition you have to make an image of. And then you'll have your... These two here are really just one partition. And it's a regular partition and an LVM inside of it. So that's what I'll end up doing. And then, of course, all these up here, those are her system that I'm on now. See, if you go to Theta, then you'll see there's just one folder in there because that's all I've done so far. And these are all empty. Might be there's some screenshots in there. Okay, so, well, everything's working fine. And so... now I see that I've mounted them. You can see them now. They'll show up on the desktop. But now I'll go back to work on setting up her system. I could go ahead and make those images and put those on there and make sure that's going to go right before I work myself to death for weeks setting up this system. What if I break something? That's true. Maybe I should go ahead and do that. Because there is a potential that I could mess something up somehow and break the whole thing and have to start over. There is that potential. And if I did, I wouldn't want to have already spent weeks, or at least a week. I don't know how long it'll take. A week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't even know. Because I keep running into more, more and more things that I didn't remember. I'll see them as I go that I need to do. And you run into problems. Some things you think, well, just like this, messing with this fan, it took all day instead of an hour or two. So, yeah, and I was going to put this in the rack. I'm so tired now, I don't feel like fooling with it, but maybe I will. I was going to carry, that's a lot of work. I don't think I'm going to do it. I just worn out. Do it tomorrow, I guess. I'm going to carry my Net Pro Max outside. It runs, but it doesn't have but like 3 gigabytes of space left on it. But it'd be perfect to set on the out on the desk out on the garage and use, because I actually don't have, well, I've got the old gateway that's so slow and powerless, but I'll use it as my garage computer for a while. And the other one I thought I was going to use, it had the plug, actual plug that you plug the cable into the power supply broke. And the other one, it doesn't have a working operating system on it. And then there's the 2 gateways, the 500 megahertz and the 350 megahertz. They're just so old and slow. And yeah, so I'll put the Net Pro Max, because I got to make more room in the rack if I'm going to put this in the rack. And I can put the Net Pro Max, my Blue out in the garage, this one and my Blue FSC in the rack, and probably the AS Rock will fit in the rack with them too. It needs a new power supply. It will run, but it's not dependable. But I kind of don't want it out in the garage. As I started to put it out in the garage as the garage computer, and then I thought, well, I don't want it being run all the time, because it might, if that power supply decides to blow up and go poof, it'll ruin that good motherboard. So I'd rather not have it out there and having me or anyone else turn it on. I don't know if I'm probably the only one that ever turns those on out there, but. Anyway, I might forget, or just have a lapse in judgment, and use it. So if it's in here, I got too many other better computers in here. I won't be using it unless I really feel like I need to. Okay, so, guess I'll go here, and, yeah. I don't see any reason to continue doing anything else, and I had big plans to get all those computers moved today, but this little fan ended up had to go out there and dig those boxes from down on the top of the shelf, and I have to get up I got a ladder thing I crawl up. It's all out. I'll have to at least put that stuff up and get it out of the way. But I was making sure everything. I always want to make sure when I go out that I'm not talking to the wind. You know, that it's actually working. Yeah, the box you can see behind me there in the floor. I'll put that back out in the garage, but I don't think I'm going to crawl up there and put it on the shelf right now. I'm not sure. Well, I'm kind of sure I don't want any more of those fans right now, but I'll just set it on the desk now because until I put that Net Pro Max out there, it can sit right where it's going to sit. I know. I'm just thinking out loud on the video for no reason. But I'm starving, so I'm not going to do any, and that's a lot. That's actually would turn into an hour or two work. I can see it right now. Getting down in that rack and getting everything to fit, getting all the cables plugged in. I'm just not going to be able to do that today. I'll have to wait till tomorrow. I would like to do it right before I take my shower because I'm going to get in dust, but I guess I just plan on waiting until the last thing to do that tomorrow. Oh, I washed clothes today. I've got 2 baskets of clothes to fold. Definitely not doing anything else. I'm going to eat, and then after I eat, I'll have to fold those clothes. Okay, unless I want to leave them in the baskets in the floor tonight, and I don't really want to do that. All right, see, thinking out loud some more. Well, I'm not tired. I'm just kind of getting loopy. Okay, well, did lots and lots of work today and got nothing actually accomplished. So I got that hard drive in there. Well, I figured out that I need a new fan. I just gonna have to get a brand new fan. That thing is not any different than it was. Getting it apart would break it, I think, to try and clean it or anything. And there's absolutely maybe a 50-50 chance that you can clean it and make it work good and not make noise. And like I said, this is Mom. She would never even know when it quit. I would probably not notice it either, you know. I might kind of notice. I would probably hear something or, you know, I don't know. One way or the other, there was once when a fan went out in a power supply in one of these machines, and I didn't notice it. I don't know how long I didn't notice it for. Finally noticed it one day, you know. So, yeah, I don't want to give it to her back to her like that. I'm gonna have to get her a new fan. All right, that's not the kind of thing I want to get. If I want to buy anything, I want to get you know, more memory, new processor, and more memory and stuff like that. Well, anyway, go ahead and go, and tomorrow will be another day. Get back at it. All right, bye bye.